Blind girl, 8, dares to speak in court. I will save you from prison. An incredible rescue revealed. In a small Midwestern town, whispers danced in the air, twisting around the streets like the autumn leaves. Emma, just 8 years old, stood at the edge of a courtroom filled with people who looked both familiar and foreign. Her heart raced. She couldn't see their faces, but she could feel the weight of their stares. Emma's going to save him. Some murmured, while others scoffed. What can a blind girl do? With her wide, expressive eyes shimmering with determination, Emma thought of her mother, Sarah, whose tireless love had wrapped her in warmth through their struggles. To Emma, the scent of fried eggs in the diner wasn't tea, just breakfast. It was home. And Jake, her mother's ex-boyfriend turned prime suspect, was a kind soul who once shared stories with her that painted pictures in her mind. I have to help him, she whispered under her breath, letting the thought roll over her like a warm blanket. In spite of her blindness, Emma perceived the world differently. Her mother worked 2 jobs, often exhausted yet resilient. Her sacrifices a backdrop to Emma's childhood. That love blossomed in moments like playing in the old playground behind the diner, where laughter once rang out and the sun painted everything gold. She could almost hear the laughter now, echoing against the darkness that threatened to drown her hopes. As she stood before the judge, the air crackled with tension. The murmur of the room faded behind the thudding of her heart. This wasn't just about Jake. It was about truth, loyalty, and the bonds that held their community together. Emma took a deep breath, her little fingers trembling slightly in the silence as she spoke. I will save you from prison. Her voice, soft yet fierce, cut through the haze of doubt surrounding her audience. Across the court, she could feel the crowd's anticipation swell, yet she held onto her memories of Jake with relentless grip. Jake never scared me. He brought me stories and dreams. He is not a criminal. With each word she uttered, she felt the room shift ever so slightly, the tension ebbing, giving way to something more powerful, understanding. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The heated debates swirling in the community center and the diner painted a stark picture outside those court walls. Friends turned to foes as fear gripped hearts tightly. Emma, wrapped in her world of sounds and scents, ventured to the playground later that day, her sanctuary amidst the storm. There, she recalled the innocent laughter that once flowed as freely as the leaves that danced in the wind. Hope, a shimmering thread, pulsed in her chest, urging her on. With every heartfelt plea in court, Emma sparked an ember in her neighbors. As the echoes of her innocent bravery filled the spaces between their lives, she knew she had begun to unravel the deep-seated biases threatening to divide them. But for every revelation, for every step towards truth, she trembled at the haunting question lingering in the air. Was her courage enough? In the quiet of the playground, Emma took a deep breath, feeling the weight of not just her mission, but the entire town's fate on her small shoulders. Would the tides of misunderstanding turn? As her heart stirred with trepidation, the story simmered with questions that melted into the cool evening, an unresolved yearning for justice and connection. Emma's fight had only just begun, and the unfolding drama promised to shake their little world to its core. Emma returned to school with a mixture of hope and fear buzzing within her. Each step felt heavy, like she was carrying the weight of 1,000 expectations. As she walked, she could hear the whispers of her classmates swirl around her, some curious, some supportive, others laden with doubt. Do you think she really can save him? Floated behind her, drawing Emma's thoughts back to the courtroom and the resolve she had felt there. In the classroom, her teacher, Mrs. Collins, greeted her with a warm smile that brought a tiny flicker of comfort. The room was alive with chatter as students discussed the court case, a topic that pulsed in every corner of town. Emma took her seat and closed her eyes for a moment, listening to the melodies of their voices, the rustling of papers, the sound of the clock ticking. Each sound twisted together, creating a symphony of uncertainty and curiosity. When the bell rang for recess, Emma made her way outside, drawn instinctively to the familiar swings in the playground, her refuge. As she sat down, she felt the cool metal beneath her hands, grounding her. She could hear the laughter of her friends and the rhythmic thud of sneakers against the gravel. But a sudden hush fell over the group when they spotted her. Emma, her best friend, Mia, called out, rushing over. "I'm so proud of you for standing up in court. Everyone's talking about it. Even my mom. She says you're brave." Brave. The word felt heavy, yet Emma embraced it like a blanket. "I just wanted to help Jake. He didn't do anything wrong," she replied softly, her fingers gripping the chains of the swing. Mia frowned slightly. "But how do you know for sure? What if he really is guilty?" A silence hovered uncomfortably between them, and for a moment, doubt crept in, threatening to unravel the threads of Emma's conviction. She shook her head, trying to dispel the worry. Because I feel it. Jake is good. He always treated me like I was special." Mia nodded, though her skepticism lingered like an uninvited guest. The other kids started to gather around, their eyes glinting with curiosity. Emma suddenly felt all the stares on her again, much like in the courtroom. "Let's do something fun," she suggested, her voice rising a notch, desperate to shake off the heaviness that had settled. But the mood had shifted, and the shadows of doubt loomed heavy. Later that night, as Emma lay in bed, her mother sat beside her, brushing gentle fingers through her hair. "You were so brave today, Emma. I'm proud of you," Sarah said softly. The warmth of her mother's love wrapped around Emma like a feather blanket. "But what if Jake really is in trouble?" Emma whispered, a tremor in her voice. "What if I can't help?" Sarah squeezed her hand. "Sometimes, honey, standing up for what you believe in is the bravest thing of all. But remember, you're not alone in this. We'll figure out together." With those reassuring words, Emma drifted off to sleep, the sound of her heart echoing in her ears steady, persistent, a reminder of her determination to seek the truth. The next morning promised to be critical. As whispers about Jake intensified around town, Emma knew she needed more than courage alone. She had to find clues, a way to defend him, to bring light to the shadows enveloping his name. Just as she prepared for the day ahead, a knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Who could it be at this hour? An unexpected visitor? Emma's heart raced as she moved toward the sound, trepidation coursing through her. What lay beyond that door would change everything. Emma paused, her hand hovering over the doorknob. The thumping of her heart filled her ears, drowning out the world around her. What if it was someone with bad news? Or worse, what if it was someone who would challenge her beliefs about Jake? Taking a deep breath, she turned the knob and opened the door. Standing there was Mr. Thompson, the local librarian, his usually calm demeanor now marked by urgency. His brow furrowed, and Emma could see he was holding a folder, the edges worn like it had been carried around for days. "Emma," he said, voice a mix of support and concern. "Can I come in?" "Of course." She stepped aside, confusion swirling in her mind. "What's going on?" The moment they were inside, Mr. Thompson closed the door behind him, a protective gesture that heightened Emma's anxiety. "I heard about your brave words in court," he began, then paused to collect his thoughts. "I think you should know something." Emma crossed her arms, feeling the weight of the situation settle on her shoulders. "Is it about Jake?" "Yes," he nodded slowly, his gaze dropping to the floor before meeting her eyes again. "I found something that could help him." Her breath caught in her throat. "What is it? Please tell me." Mr. Thompson gestured for her to sit, and she hurriedly took a seat at the kitchen table, her pulse quickening with hope. He pulled out the folder and opened it, revealing photographs and a stack of papers that had been neatly organized. "These are from the day of the incident the night Jake was arrested." Emma leaned closer, her heart racing. Each image told a story. "What did you find?" "There's a witness, someone who saw what really happened. But it's complicated." He hesitated, as if weighing the gravity of his next words. This person is scared. They don't want to come forward. Why not? Emma pressed, her mind racing with possibilities. Doubts were replaced by determination. This was what she needed. I can help convince them. Mr. Thompson shook his head. It's not that simple. They've been threatened, and they fear for their safety. I can't force them to speak up, even if they want to. But you might have more influence. Emma's thoughts spun like a tornado. She had always thought of herself as just a little girl, maybe a little different because of her blindness, but now the pieces of bravery she had always carried inside were coming to life. What I need to do? Mr. Thompson leaned forward, a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes. You need to find a way to reassure them that it's safe to talk. You understand the power of belief, of standing up. Maybe you can show them that. For the first time in days, Emma felt a spark of excitement. She needed to act, not just for Jake, but to stand for what was right. I'll do it, she declared. I'll talk to them and help them feel safe. Just be careful, Emma, Mr. Thompson warned gently. This is serious business. You could be putting yourself at risk. She nodded, the weight of his words sinking in, but the fire in her heart urged her on. She had to save Jake, no matter the cost. As she prepared herself for the challenge ahead, Emma felt a flickering hope light up her insides. But just then, she sensed something beyond the doorway, an unsettling presence lingering. She could hear a barely there whisper, something familiar, yet haunting Emma. What did that voice want? And how did it know her name? Emma's heart raced as the whisper echoed again, more insistent this time. Emma, it felt like it was swirling around her, wrapping her in a shroud of familiarity mixed with fear. She stepped cautiously toward the door, each step echoing in the quiet of the room. Who is there? She called out, her voice slightly trembling. She strained her ears, hoping to catch any indication of who it might be. Emma, with a burst of determination, she swung the door open wider, scanning the street outside. Yet the world remained unchanged, the usual sounds of wind, rustling leaves, and distant chatter filling the air. No one was there. What was that? She mumbled to herself, closing the door softly as if afraid to disturb whatever shadow lurked outside. Mr. Thompson observed her, his brow furrowed with concern. Are you all right? Emma shook her head, trying to push away the eerie feeling settling in her chest. It's nothing, just a voice. She made her way back to the table, but her mind was elsewhere. Listen, Mr. Thompson, she said, taking a deep breath to steady herself. We need to find that witness. If they have information about Jake, we can't waste any time. I can't just sit here. He hesitated, weighing her words. I understand, but it's going to take some planning and it might not be safe. I don't care. I have to do this, she insisted, fire blazing in her eyes. Jake needs me, and this person needs to know that they're not alone. I can show them that. Okay, Mr. Thompson replied, finally nodding. We'll work as a team, but we need to be smart about it. Emma felt the warmth of hope surge within her. This was the push she needed. They set to work, brainstorming how to track down this mysterious witness. Emma's thoughts raced as she considered how to make the person feel safe. As a plan began to form, the whisper returned, wrapping around her thoughts. Why now? She wondered, trying to decipher the weight of its presence. She thought again of the voice calling her name. What if they know something about Jake? What if it's someone who was there that night? She grabbed her phone, her fingers trembling slightly as she pulled up the contact list. Would they know if she reached out, or would they be scared? A call would make it real. Are you sure about this? Mr. Thompson asked. Once you start reaching out, you can't go back. Jake doesn't have that luxury, Emma replied firmly, her heart pounding. She pressed the call button, feeling the moments tick by like hours. The phone rang, each beep amplifying her anxiety. She held her breath. Would the witness answer? Hello? A shaky voice responded at the other end. Emma's breath caught again, excitement mixing with fear. Hi, this is Emma. Before she could finish, the voice cut in, trembling. You shouldn't be calling me. It's not safe, please, Emma urged, gripping the edge of the table. I just want to help Jake. You're not alone. You could trust me. For a long moment, silence stretched between them, but Emma sensed a flicker of hesitation. Her heart raced. a mixture of hope and dread. "Emma?" the voice finally whispered. "What do you know?" Just then, as the significance of the conversation sank in, the door rattled slightly. Emma's breath hitched. What else was waiting just out of sight? "Who there?" she whispered, her voice a mix of surprise and fear. Emma's heart pounded as she strained to hear any sign of movement beyond the door. The ambience in the room had shifted, becoming heavier, almost as if it were holding its breath alongside her. Mr. Thompson stepped forward, his body tense with concern. "Emma, maybe we should step back, shoo?" She turned sharply, shooting him a look that cut off his words. She couldn't focus on anything else. That whisper, that voice, it was both a lifeline and a threat. Every fiber of her being urged her to trust the moment. "Who there?" Emma repeated, her voice firmer now, almost defiant. The rattling stopped. An unsettling silence followed, stretching like a tightrope between dread and curiosity. Then, a low voice slipped through the crack beneath the door. "You should go, it's not safe for you." "They're coming." Emma's blood ran cold. "Who's coming?" No response, just the echo of her own racing heartbeat. "Please, I need to know," she pleaded, feeling the fear claw at her insides. This was about Jake. She couldn't run from danger or whispers now. After a moment, the voice continued, "They know you're looking. They'll come for you, too. Just stay away, no." Emma shook her head, stepping closer to the door. "I can't just abandon him. I have to help Jake." "Help?" The voice scoffed bitterly. "You have no idea what you're dealing with. Trust me, it's better to walk away." Frustration bubbled within her. "It's not just about me. It's about truth and justice. Jake deserves that, and so do you." Tension lingered in the air, tangible and thick. Mr. Thompson observed, anxiety etched across his face. Emma turned back to him, desperation clear in her gaze. What if they really know something? What if they're scared just like us? His expression softened. "Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is step back." Emma clenched her fists. "And let Jake down?" Suddenly, the door was rattling again, accompanied by quick footsteps outside. Emma's heart sank. A sense of danger wrapped around her, weighty and suffocating. This wasn't just about whispers and phone calls anymore. It was real. "Emma, we need to leave now," Mr. Thompson urged, moving toward the window. "No," she shouted as panic surged through her. "I can't." In that moment, Emma felt something change. It was as if she could hear the voices of her past, the friends and family who had always urged her to believe in the impossible, to fight for what mattered. She thought of Jake, alone and scared. "Wait," she shouted again, but the footsteps continued. "I want to help." Just as she was about to lean closer to the door, it swung open with a crash. The wind rushed in, bringing with it an unsettling chill. A figure stood there, half-shadowed, their face obscured. Emma, they breathed, and for a heartbeat, time seemed to freeze. That it wasn't just a whisper. It was everything. "Get back," Mr. Thompson shouted, pushing Emma behind him. "Who are you?" "Emma," the figure gasped, eyes wide with fear. "You need to see this now before it's too late." A wave of urgency flowed through Emma. She would not turn away now, not when the truth was just beyond her grasp. "What do you mean?" she demanded, stepping forward, heart in her throat, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. "Jake isn't the only one in danger," the figure said, their voice urgent. "You have to understand, they're targeting you." The gravity of those words anchored Emma, pulling her into an abyss of uncertainty. What did this mean for her? For Jake? Was there a truth even darker than she could imagine? With every beat of her heart, the answer hung in the air like the whisper of the wind. What was she willing to risk to uncover it? The figure took a step closer, and Emma braced herself, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. What lay ahead could change everything. Emma looked into the eyes of the figure before her, searching for answers, searching for hope. In the dim light, their features became clearer, a familiar face, someone she'd seen before but couldn't quite identify. "Wait, who are you?" Her voice trembled slightly, uncertainty creeping in. "I'm just someone who knows what's coming," the figure explained, their breath shaky. "You have to trust me, Emma. If you don't act now, Everything will change, and not for the better. Mr. Thompson stepped forward, still protective but curious. What do you mean? If they're after her, we need to protect her. I can't just stand here. Emma snapped, frustration bubbling over. She had always been the one to act, to stand up for others, and now was no different. I have to know, what do they want from me? Everything, the figure replied, urgency flashing in their eyes. They want to silence you because you're getting too close to the truth. They don't just want Jake, they want to scare you into submission. You have to be smarter than this. Emma felt a rush of emotions: fear, anger, defiance. She wasn't going to be pushed aside. No, I want to be silenced. Not when Jake needs me. A shadow flickered across the figure's face, revealing an unease that Emma hadn't noticed before. Emma, you need to understand. The truth can destroy everything. I didn't choose this path either, but once you know, there's no turning back. Who are you really? Emma pressed, heart racing faster as she folded her arms. What's your connection to all of this? I can't explain everything here. It's too dangerous. The figure glanced anxiously over their shoulder. You'll have to follow me. Quickly. Emma exchanged a glance with Mr. Thompson. He hesitated, weighing his options. The quiet urgency in Emma's eyes urged him forward, pushing him past his instincts. Fine, we'll follow you, but you have to tell us everything. With an almost imperceptible nod, the figure turned, leading the way out of the room. Emma's thoughts whirled. Every step pulled her deeper into the rabbit hole. What if they were walking into a trap? Could there be more danger lurking in the shadows? As they moved through the dim hallways, Emma felt the walls closing in. She couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. Why are you helping me? She asked, her voice echoing slightly against the concrete. The figure paused, glancing back with a pained expression. Because once I was in your shoes, I ignored the warnings, and I lost everything. Emma swallowed hard, processing the revelation. What do you mean? What did you lose? The figure flinched slightly, as if her question struck a nerve. Everything, they whispered. Family, friends, myself. I was too late to save them. Fear coiled in her chest as they reached a doorway, the outside world beckoning her. The figure pulled it open, revealing a world drenched in twilight. The sun barely illuminated the horizon, casting long shadows. You need to prepare, Emma. They know we're here, and we're running out of time. Emma's heart raced at the thought of impending danger. The outside world was vast and unforgiving, but she couldn't back down now. Not when Jake was still out there. Where are we going? She asked, determination dulling the edges of her fear. To a place where we can be safe, the figure replied, urgency snapping back into their voice. But we must move quickly. If we don't, you'll be the next target. The gravity of those words hit Emma like a punch to the gut. Then let us not waste any more time. As they stepped into the dim light, Emma felt the weight of possibility on her shoulders. But with each step forward, the suffocating anxiety tightened its grip. What dangers awaited them in the unknown? And above all, could she uncover the truth before it unraveled everything she loved? She clenched her fists, determined to find out, ready to face whatever lay ahead. As they stepped into the cool evening air, Emma's senses sharpened. The world outside felt so different, charged with an electric kind of urgency. The figure led them down a narrow alley, the fading sunlight casting fractured shadows against the brick walls. Her heart pounded in her chest. Every beat whispered a warning, but she refused to let fear dictate her steps. Do you really think we'll be safe? She asked, striving to keep her voice steady. She glanced back at Mr. Thompson, who walked protectively beside her, his grit bolstering her resolve. The figure hesitated, the shadows of the alley swallowing them momentarily. Safe? It's complicated. They spoke with an edge of despair. Safety means knowing when to fight and when to hide. You don't want to attract attention. Emma's mind raced. It felt like they were playing a dangerous game of chess, but she couldn't afford to be an unwitting pawn. If I'm going to understand what is happening, I need the whole truth. The figure sighed, guiding them into the dim light of a small cafe at the end of the alley. Its windows were fogged, and the hum of conversation buzzed just under the surface. Fine. But one T be easy to hear. They settled in a dim corner booth, cramped yet somehow comforting amidst the tension swirling around them. As the figure glanced around, Emma fidgeted with her hands, the cool plastic of the table grounding her. Jake's never just a pawn in this game, the figure began, their voice barely above a whisper. There are forces at play that go beyond what you can imagine, not just people ideologies. The deeper you dive, the more dangerous it becomes. Start from the beginning, Emma urged, her eyes narrowing as she took in the figure's grim expression. What do you know? The figure lowered their voice further, looking over their shoulder one last time before continuing. They want control over knowledge, over people. Jake was taken because he was part of something bigger, something they don't want the public to know. Emma's heart sank. What was he a part of? And why involve me? Because you found him, they said, desperation lacing their words. Your connection, it makes you a target, but also gives you strength. They think if they intimidate you, they can keep the truth buried. And how does that help us? Mr. Thompson spoke up, the tension in his voice unmistakable. It doesn't. It's not about us anymore. The figure's gaze hardened. It's about survival. Yours, Jake's, anyone who dares to step in their way. You need to find the others, those who have fought against this before. They have answers, resources, and they know how to fight back. Others? Emma echoed, panic creeping back. How do we find them? You 1T. They find you. The figure leaned closer, their eyes sharpening. But you 1T be able to do it without trust. Someone along the line will have to take a leap, even if it hurts. You need to let your walls down. Emma breathed in deeply, processing the enormity of what they were asking. Trust was often a dangerous game, especially now. And if I can't? If only the answer was simple. The figure's eyes flickered with regret. Then it all crumbles. Your hope, your family, everything. Her stomach churned at the reality of their situation. The fragile thread connecting her to Jake felt more vulnerable than ever. Then I 1T let it crumble, she whispered, determination igniting within her. The figure nodded slowly, a hint of respect shining through their previous despair. Let us get moving then. The longer we stay here, the more exposed we are. As they exited the cafe, the first drops of rain began to fall, dotting the pavement around them. Emma felt the familiar stir of fear, but a newfound strength surged through her veins. She wasn't backing down. Wait, Mr. Thompson said suddenly, stopping her in her tracks. What if they're already here? The tension in the air thickened, a warning she couldn't ignore. Emma looked around, her breath catching. What if they were already lurking nearby, watching, waiting strike? The storm wasn't just in the skies above could the storm of. Danger be looming closer than she ever imagined? And with her heart racing, she realized she had already stepped deeper into the storm, and there would be no turning back. Emma scanned the street, her heartbeat drumming a frantic tempo against her ribs. The rain began to fall steadily now, slicking the pavement into a reflective surface. Each drop echoed the anxiety surging within her. We should get to a safe place, she murmured, her voice barely above the patter of rain.mr. Thompson glanced around, the lines on his forehead deepening. We have to be strategic. If they are here, we need a plan. The figure leading them nodded, urgency etched on their face. We'll go to a safe house. It's not far, but we need to stick together and stay alert. They hurried down the alley, winding through a maze of back streets, the darkness wrapping around them like a heavy blanket. Emma felt the weight of the unsaid words pressing on her shoulders. Who were they? What truly happened to Jake? In just a few hours, her life had turned inside out, a jumbled mess of confusion and fear. As the figure pushed open a door to a small, nondescript building, the scent of damp wood and faint spices filled the air. She stepped inside, followed closely by Mr. Thompson, and the figure shut the door firmly behind them. The room was dark, with minimal furniture and a few flickering candles casting long shadows. Welcome to your temporary refuge, the figure said, still glancing out the window nervously. We'll call it home until we can secure a better spot. Emma leaned against the wall, catching her breath. So what now? How do we find Jake and the others? Patience, the figure replied, holding a finger up. First, we protect you from being tracked. Then, we make contact with those who can help. Mr. Thompson crossed his arms, his eyes narrowing. And what if the danger finds us first? Then we need to be ready, the figure said, a steely edge to their voice. Every moment counts now. Trust your instincts. You will need them. Emma watched as they pulled out a small device from their bag, a globe-shaped object with blinking lights. It looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. What is that? A scanner, they replied. It will help us detect any signals or surveillance in the area. We'll know if they're closing in. Emma felt a spark of hope. Information was power, right? What do you need me to do? Stay alert. Remain silent unless it's necessary to speak. Trust me, the most dangerous thing now is to draw attention to ourselves. While Mr. Thompson busied himself checking the windows, Emma's mind bounced with questions. Could she do this? Could she really be a part of something greater, become a beacon of hope for Jake and possibly others? Minutes dragged on, each tick of the clock filling her with unease. The rain drummed louder against the windows, each thud a reminder of the storm outside and the chaos it mirrored in her mind. Then, suddenly, the scanner beeped, cutting through the tension like a knife. The figure's expression shifted, eyes widening in alarm. They're close, really close. Emma's breath hitched. What do we do? Move, they said sharply, sliding the device into their pocket. We have to get to the basement. It's our safest option. As they hurried through the narrow hall, Emma felt her body tense. It was a plunge into darkness. Would she find Jake at the end of this nightmare? Or would the shadows swallow her whole? They reached the door to the basement, the figure halting, turning to face them. Listen carefully. You might have to make decisions quickly. Trust your gut and trust each other. Mr. Thompson nodded gravely, and Emma felt the unspoken weight of their pact, the glue of their newfound alliance. Just as she was about to step through the door, a loud bang resonated from above, followed by a shattering crash. Emma's heart dropped. The storm was no longer outside, it was barreling down on them. Time's up, the figure snapped, urging them forward. We fight or we hide. Make your choice. Her palms felt clammy as she took a breath. Whatever lay ahead, she was no longer just a pawn. And in that moment, she realized her leap of faith was just beginning. The basement door creaked open, and the figure gestured for them to enter. Emma felt a jolt of apprehension as she stepped inside, the air cooler and heavier here. They quickly followed, and the figure closed the door with a thud, plunging them into nearly complete darkness. Stay low, stay quiet, they whispered, their voice barely rising above the heavy sounds of rain and intermittent thundering from above. Emma's heart raced. She could feel the pulse of fear climbing up her throat, weaving through the cavernous space like a living entity. Mr. Thompson crouched down beside her, his face just a shadow in the dim light. We need to stay calm, he murmured. Whatever happens, we need to stick together. Emma nodded, but inside, her mind was swirling. She'd never been in a situation like this. The weight of uncertainty pressed down heavy on her chest. Was Jake out there captured? Was he in pain? Her thoughts steadied on the small, flickering candle they had brought down with them, casting a pale glow over their anxious faces. The figure emerged with a flashlight, illuminating a staircase leading deeper into the darkness. This way, they commanded, maintaining a firm grip on the light beam. As they descended further, Emma's foot slipped on the slick wooden stairs. A soft gasp escaped her. It echoed through the silence, slicing into the tension. She squeezed her eyes shut for a brief moment, willing herself not to panic. But the fear came rushing back. What if they hear us? She whispered, her voice trembling slightly. They won't, the figure insisted, their tone unyielding. We're underground. The first thing to do is make sure they don't know where we are. As they reached the bottom, a musty smell greeted them, one that hinted at years of neglect. Their flashlight beam danced across the walls, revealing dark patches and clumps of dirt. It felt oppressive, the walls closing in. Let me check the perimeter, the figure said, emerging into a small alcove that had been roughly carved into the stone. Emma watched, her pulse thrumming in her ears, while they surveyed the area. How long do you think we'll have? Mr. Thompson whispered, glancing at Emma's worried face. Maybe an hour, the figure replied, returning, eyebrows knitted with worry. After that, it's anyone's guess. Emma laid flat against the ground, her heart racing. There's got to be a way to contact Jake, she said, almost pleading. He must be waiting for us. The figure shook their head. We can't risk it. Not yet. We need a solid plan. She bit her lip, frustration clawing at her insides. She felt so powerless. How could they let Jake remain in danger when they were so close? A wave of desperation washed over her, and she felt small and insignificant against the looming shadows of uncertainty. Emma, Mr. Thompson said gently, sensing her turmoil. You're stronger than you think. We'll find a way to save him. Just then, the scanner emitted a high-pitched beep, sending chills down their spines. The figure scrambled to pull out, their eyes scanning the lights. No, this can't be happening. They're coming. Emma yelped, panic rising in her throat. Get ready, the figure barked, their voice bursting with urgency. They took a hold of Emma's arm, preparing to push them into a corner. A fear like no other gripped Emma, but she also felt a strange fire ignite within her. I want to let them take us, she thought, steeling herself. Then, piercing through the chaos above, she heard a familiar voice, one she and T realized she'd been yearning for the whole time. Emma, Emma, Jake's voice. Tears sprang to her eyes as hope swirled inside her like a tornado. Jake, she shouted, but her voice was drowned out by the roar of the storm. Keep it down. The figure hissed, but Emma couldn't hold back. Jake, I'm here. I'm coming for you. The anguish of the storm echoed around them, but somewhere in the depths of despair, a glimmer of resolve began to spark. It was now or never. What if they could break through the shadows together? What if there was a chance, however slight, to reach him before it was too late? And in that moment, she knew their fight was far from over. Emma pressed her ear against the cool, damp wall, desperately trying to listen for any clue that Jake might hear her. The pounding rain outside masked the sounds of movement, but her heart urged her to keep calling. Jake, I'm right here. I'm going to find you. Suddenly, the world around her seemed to fade. The oppressive darkness that surrounded the basement felt alive, echoing the overwhelming fear trapped within her. And yet, amidst the chaos, that instinctual spark ignited once more. With renewed determination, Emma could feel her strength manifesting like an electric current coursing through her body. Emma, Jake's voice rang out again, clearer now, like a beacon in the night. Are you there? Yes, I'm here, Emma cried, her voice laced with urgency. The figure glanced nervously toward the door, their expression shifting between uncertainty and determination. We need to be careful. If they know he is close, no, we can't stop now. Emma interjected, feeling the weight of the world rally behind her. I've felt him, and he is still fighting. We can't let fear win. I need to go to him. Understanding ignited in the figure's eyes like a flame catching wood. You're right. Your bond gives him hope, and we need to harness that. Everyone must be brave now. Let us find a way out. If you can help me reach him, I know we can do this together, Emma declared. Mr. Thompson nodded, his faith in her unwavering. Okay, let us move. There has to be another exit. As they searched the shadowy corners of the basement, adrenaline fueled Emma's every step. Each heartbeat pumped belief deeper into her spirit, weaving light into these dark moments. She might be blind, but her mind painted vibrant images of courage bright enough to pierce through any wall of despair. And then they found a small, wooden door, slightly ajar. Hope shimmered off the edges, calling to Emma like a lighthouse in a storm. Is this it? Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper, eyes wide with anticipation. Only one way to find out, the figure replied, and as they eased the door open, a sliver of light spilled into the darkness. With determination radiating from their hearts, they stepped outside into the rain-soaked night. The downpour felt like a cleansing, washing away fear and doubt. Emma could feel the rain against her skin, a chorus of hope. They started forward toward Jake. "Which way?" Emma said, her senses igniting with urgency. "Follow my voice," the figure instructed, taking the lead as they dashed through the rain. The sound of their footsteps sloshing through puddles, the faint rustle of wind, and the beat of the rain served as a guide. It wasn't long before they heard Jake a distant cry, filled with pain. "Keep going. We're almost there," Emma shouted, determination flooding her voice. Through winding paths and shadows, they pushed onward, hearts drumming like thunder. "Emma, I'm here," Jake shouted again, this time drawing nearer. Emma's heart raced. "Hold on, Jake. We're coming." They finally reached a clearing. Emma strained her ears, gathering every ounce of strength left inside her. She could hear the echo of a struggle and dread form a knot in her stomach. "We can't wait," the figure said, their eyes darting around. "We have to get inside. Stay together," Mr. Thompson urged as they approached a worn, abandoned structure where a faint glow flickered inside. With a fierce push, they burst through the door, confronting the chilling scene ahead. Just beyond, bound and frightened, stood Jake. Emma's heart swelled, and tears filled her eyes. "Jake! Emma!" Jake called out, his expression shifting from despair to disbelief as he locked eyes with her. In an instant, she rushed forward to embrace him. "I'm here. I'll always find you," she whispered fiercely, breaking the ties that bound him with frantic hands. The tension around them thickened. The figure held up the flashlight, illuminating several unfamiliar faces surrounding them, their gazes narrow and watchful. Emma's stomach twisted. They were not just shadowy figures. They were ghosts of doubt and fear, lingering on the edge of hope. "Step away from him," the figure shouted, creating a protective barrier around Emma and Jake. "What are you going to do?" One of the men sneered, stepping forward with authority. Emma's heart raced. Their presence was tangible, oppressive. But deep within her, something shifted, a glimmer of fear, transformed into an unwavering strength, a shield of love for Jake. "Leave him alone," she yelled, her voice unwavering. "You think you can control us? You can't. We are stronger together." The crowd faltered, uncertainty increasing the tension in the air. "Emma, what are you doing?" Jake whispered, awe evident in his voice. "We lift each other up, no matter the storm. And I believe in you." The intensity of her words, filled with sincere conviction, echoed in the stillness, sending ripples through the faces of those surrounding them. Emma's fierce spirit ignited a flicker of humanity in their eyes. Suddenly, a rush of wind swept through, and as Emma and Jake locked eyes, time slowed. Her heart resonated with love and bravery, and in that fleeting moment, they formed an unbreakable pact. Together, they stepped forward, hand in hand, facing the crowd. "We demand truth, justice, and freedom. This moment is ours." As the silence descended like a heavy weight, their bond radiated like a beacon, shattering the darkness that had tried to consume them. They weren't just fighting for themselves. They were fighting for every soul that had ever felt lost, unheard, or afraid. Together, Emma shouted, her voice colorful and loud, representing the hope not just for her and Jake, but for everyone. And in that breathtaking moment, the storm ceased and the air filled with clarity. The figure looked between Emma, Jake, and the crowd, seeing strength where there had once been discord, and the darkness around them began to dissolve. Hope surged through the room, a powerful current that twisted through fear and confusion, transforming it into a fierce determination. Together, they would step into the light, guided not by fear but by the unyielding truth they had uncovered. As they walked forward, facing the crowd, Emma's heart clenched with hope, knowing deep down that love and courage would always prevail. "Let us take this journey together," she declared, her voice echoing with confidence, "and reclaim the truth." In that defining moment, Emma transformed from a girl burdened by doubt into a radiant leader shining a light on the path ahead. And the way forward was brilliant, clear, and bright. Now, as the story unfolds, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the exciting next steps of Emma's journey. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread the message of hope. Comment your feelings about this inspiring conclusion. How did Emma's courage resonate with you? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this incredible story of transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.